Hello. Hi. How are you? Today is a morning stream for me. Well, that's apparently the only time I was able to find in the chess TV schedule because it's very it's very busy and only the morning hours are available. So I decided, since I want to talk about my match with Levy Rozman once again, I decided to stream today in the morning. Especially there's going to be a title Tuesday later at night. So let's start because I picked like the 10 most entertaining oh no moments of my match against Levy Rozman that I want to go over with you today. And also I prepared short video clips from the match of every moment because the match itself, of course, was quite entertaining, but I must say that the commentators were like the best one you can hope for when playing a match. So let's get started. The first game, I was playing black. The first part of the match, as you might remember, was the time control 3+1, and I was playing black. The position was very complex, and here comes the first moment where I just played b5. Actually, just before going into the chess details, let's first listen to the players and to Hikaru himself for the predictions of the match, and then we'll get going into our chess world and chess lines. Okay, so here comes the first starting impressions.
Wonderful. I'm feeling like Dustin Poirier feels fighting Conor McGregor. So happy to be here, and looking to just have some fun, play good chess, and yeah, I think we're already off to a flying start here. So
all right, so should we get going then?
That's why I took my headphones off the first time. Okay. All right, so if I take my headphones off, we're good this time.
Okay, we're good to start.
All
okay,
right.
so I'm.
Good luck to both. Good luck.
All right, good luck. Have fun with the commentary, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, a flying start, and now Agnieszka Karajewski, thank you so much for your bits. Now let's listen to the Hikaru's predictions.
There you go. Hikaru, what's our prediction for this match? I didn't want to.
I mean, I think
about to
probably. I think it's a really question of how close it is in the 3+1.
and Anna's
If
comments.
Levy can keep it relatively close, I think he has
And
a very
we're
good
gonna
chance. Have they started or not? They haven't, right?
I think not yet. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
also keeping an eye.
But yeah, I think it depends how close Levy can keep it. I think he's probably a big favorite in the bullet. Okay, let me start the timer.
Here we go.
I'll add a timer to my screen. But I think it depends if Levy can keep it close in the blitz portion. If he cannot do that, then I think Alexandra is a big favorite because she's going to win the bullet. She's a better player, I would say, on average. In the blitz for sure, and so Levy just has to keep it as close as he can.
What do you think of his opening choice?
So here we are. Now we're ready. We're ready to talk about the games and 10 oh no moments of the match that I chose for this stream. And here comes the first game. The position is quite complex. I just played b5. And actually, if we listen to Hikaru, that's what he said.
Again, I like knight e5 and bishop g4.
Yeah, that seems to be the type of move Alexandra would definitely go for. She goes b5 first. Oh, she wants c takes b5, then knight e5?
I guess, but isn't there some knight e5, knight takes e4? Oh, Levy. Oh, no. What is that? Yes, that was not correct. I mean, you know what this reminds me of is in the French Winter War, there's a line where white goes to a3, black goes bishop a5, b4.
Yeah.
And you capture c takes d4. You capture towards the center, not away from the center.
Exactly.
Because now black's center is very secure. The pawns are protected. What you want to do is capture towards the center on d5 and then take e4. Because even though you get your pawn back, black can go c6 here, consolidate the chain of 3, and black is much better.
So toward the center. Usually it's a good idea to capture towards the center. And here Hikaru was suggesting knight e5, and that indeed was a much better choice for me. But at the same time, after c takes d5, I'm not sure I have time to go closer to the h2 square and to create an attack. My pieces are too far away, so I don't think it would be enough, although here, for example, white needs to be careful because knight takes e4 loses, of course, after queen takes h4. So knight e5 was definitely a better choice for me here. But I decided, I saw another idea, yes, very positional idea, and I played b5, actually hoping for my opponent to take on b5, but instead white should have taken towards the center, so to d5, c takes d5, and what's more important is it's not only the fact that he's capturing the d pawn, one of the central pawns, but also the fact that another central pawn is hanging after that, and my knight is under attack. So I can grab this bishop, but white has also an intermediate move, knight d to e4, and I didn't like this line when I was calculating it during the game. White is clearly much better, but again, sometimes blunders can also be quite positional, and in that particular case, c takes b5 is a huge positional blunder, and after this blunder I keep my pawn's chain on the board, which restricts movements of white's pieces, and white is starting to suffer a lot. The position becomes hopeless automatically, although the material is equal, but the strong pawn's chain is just too strong for white to fight against. And well, yeah, that was the first game, which I won, although the position was quite shaky, I must say, and that's how the match started. And it's very important to start a match with a win, because it gives you some more confidence. But let's get going. The second game, actually, I was also struggling a lot. I misplayed somewhere in the middle game. It was a Dutch defense, and I got a good position out of the opening, but then, as it often happens in the Dutch defense, black got some counterplay, and I didn't manage to react well. Well, here I go. I needed to sacrifice a piece at some moment, and actually I was very happy to be able to sacrifice it, because black has such a nice center. I'm sure he could have avoided this piece sacrifice, but after this piece sacrifice, it just knight for 2 pawns, and it definitely should be enough for black to win. So let's listen to this moment, what the commentators were saying here.
Yeah, I mean, Levy's just winning. Knight d5, knight c4. He should win this game. Like rook a3 is a move, maybe knight d5 is a move.
17 seconds left though. He has to hurry up. Coming back to b5. He has to be somewhat careful about the king though, because of this diagonal.
Yeah, he's actually Levy. Come on! Oh my gosh!
5 seconds.
Come on, move, Levy.
There's only
Let's
1
go.
second increment. Move.
Oh my god!
It's a blunder.
Rook d7 was winning. What was Rook d4? Rook d7. What? Rook a4. Oh my! Oh my!
Oh no!
Well, yes, Black was winning and was supposed to win in this game, but as it often happens in Blitz, time factor is also a very important factor, and you need to keep this balance between the quality and the time control, and the quality of the moves and the seconds that are left on the clock. And of course, here Levy didn't manage to keep this slipping away seconds under control, and he made a terrible blunder, because right now in this at this position everything is under control. This knight is controlling this square, which is very important. Well, I have just one bishop that is trying to create some threats, but the king is doing fine in guarding the bishop. The queen is guarding the c7 pawn, and another bishop and another rook are just here around the king just in case. So there were two very good moves to make. The first one is bishop to f7, kind of covering the seventh rank, and the second move with the same idea, rook to e7, taking this d7 square under double control, and then the knight can already consider going away to d5 to a4 if needed. Instead, Levy blundered with knight to a4, and of course after that it's a huge mistake. I should have played rook d7 as Hikaru mentioned, or knight takes c7. Instead, I made a good move, but not the strongest one in this position, because rook d7 check and knight takes c7 are so much stronger. I played rook to d4, heading actually, well, it's a double attack to the knight and to the pawn, but well, of course black should have played a knight to b6. And then here I have a good compensation for the piece. Rook takes c4 is not so strong, but I can continue the attack. I think that was actually my idea, to force the knight to leave away, and then being able to put my queen onto the big diagonal. And it's quite, I mean, quite unpleasant for black, especially considering the fact that black was running a long time. But yeah, that was another shaky game at the start, at the beginning, but nevertheless I won this one as well. And I after this victory I was leading in the match 2-0. Let's get going. And then came the game number, what was that already, this game? Let me see. It was the game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the match, and I was leading at this point already by some points, and that was a good game, although I missed some great chances in the middle game. But at the end, I mean, we had this end game, and it was equal. But for some reason, I decided to play for a win. What a strange, what a strange decision. And actually, when listening to the comments of Hikaru, I must say that he had same instincts as me in this position. So he offered the same move that I made, and it actually a blunder. I must keep the rook on a3. Yes, it's an unfortunate position for the rook. We know that I mean, rook is a very strong piece and it needs to be activated whenever is possible, but unfortunately here it's very important to keep an eye on this pawn, because as soon as I leave the rook, then black's rook is also can move, and that's what happened. And when the black rook moves here comes a big problem. So let's listen to this moment.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, it's still probably a draw. Like, you can go g5 or h4, h5, and it should be a draw, but yeah.
3 seconds left for Levy, though.
Levy, come on, Levy, come on. Oh my god.
It's only a 1 second increment, so he can't
Rook
win much
f3?
time. At least he
Rook
pre-moved
f3
that.
maybe?
That was
Or rook
good.
g3? Yeah. Levy! Levy!
Oh, the bar says that now he could actually play for a win with the activation of the
f3
rook.
maybe?
Nice.
Yep. The moment where black was able to activate his rook. So I played rook to g3, which is a huge blunder here. I should have kept the rook on the a file. I could have played with my bishop to g5, for example, to cover the g file just in case. And well, the position, I mean, should be about equal, and some kind of this move repetition seems to be very logical here. But unfortunately for me, as I already mentioned, I wanted to play for a win. I didn't want to take a draw, and I was punished for this desire, because sometimes you need to stay objective. I mean, most of the time, and that's very important, to stay objective. Of course you want to play for a win, but only if the position I mean, it's giving you these chances, and you shall not play for a win in equal positions. I mean, in positions where you can just easily become worse, or you are worse. Anyway, let's see. I played rook to g3. The idea is okay. I mean, to put the rook on an open file, as we've all been taught, but the problem is that, as I said, I also let black's rook go to the open file, to the b file, and what's worse, my king suddenly becoming very weak, because the rook and the knight starts to coordinate together very well. And I played bishop a3, protecting the b4 square, but after rook b1, suddenly, I mean, it's very hard to play. Yes, I could have played a little bit more stubborn. I should have keep my rook on the third rank, because after it left the third rank, I got checkmated. A very nice checkmate. Here we go. Rook c3 checkmate. Well, and we go on in the next game. I was also desperately trying to find counter chances. I was also not doing great in this game. Actually, it was a very interesting game. I thought that I was a little bit too optimistic in pushing this pawn forward so much, but actually my position was quite well. I should have played knight d4, because, well, black cannot take with the queen, since bishop e4 will be coming, and if he takes with the bishop, then I have knight f5 and knight e6, a little puzzle rush trick, and the queen cannot, there is no way for her to keep the bishop protected. And that was a very interesting opportunity for me. Instead, I played rook to b1, and after rook f to e8, suddenly, well, my pawn became weakness, and at the end I lost this pawn. But from the moment I lost the pawn to the moment where my opponent blundered, I actually played quite well. So I managed to regroup my pieces, to put the knight, or to put the knight in the center where it's threatening to go to f5, and also I changed this position of my bishop. I moved it from the b1 h7 diagonal, where it was standing okay, but it was not doing a lot, to a2 g8 diagonal, where in fact it attacks the f7 square. And it was essential for black to cover this bishop, to play bishop d5. And actually, if we listen to Hikaru's comments on this game, that's what he said.
Levy's got to go bishop d5 and close this diagonal for the white bishop. Bishop d5 it's imperative that he does it here.
10 seconds though. Levy's again
Ay,
very slow.
There's rook e7, rook
Bishop
a7,
d5.
knight e6. Oh my gosh, there's knight e6 also, and bishop e6 and rook f7.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh no, Levy's in. Oh no.
Yeah, bishop d5. You see, that was the point, to cover this bishop. It was very important. Another possibility would have been to cover the e file and not let my pieces get to the 7th rank. Instead, Levy played king to g7, and after that I immediately put my queen onto the 7th rank, threatening the f7 pawn. And after queen takes e7, rook takes e7, bishop d5 was played, which is probably a mistake, but it was not easy already to figure out how to protect the pawn and at the same time protect the e6 square. And especially when black was running low on time again, but it's not a surprise to be low on time in a 3-minute game. And yes, and I managed to win this game as well. So turning tables around, of course it's very important to keep fighting, to keep finding chances, even when you have a very difficult position. Rook takes c2, knight takes c2, knight c6. When was it? I don't see exactly. You mean here, rook takes c2. Actually, it's a nice tactic, but it's very good that you see those kind of possibilities, similar to what Isipenko did to Karslan the other day. Queen to c6, all those double attacks, but it doesn't work here quite well. And I think I saw it during the game because of this queen to f3 move. I'm not only protecting the g2 square, but at the same time I'm looking at this bishop on b7, and black cannot win a piece here. But that's a very good question. So no, rook takes c2 is not possible here. It's not needed here, since black has a big advantage, an extra pawn, a very strong bishop on b7. But of course you should keep attention to those tactical details. And guys, I see you're arguing in the chat. I mean, I think can all agree, and Levy said it several times, that he was an underdog. Of course, I'm rated much higher, but online matches and blitz matches have its own specific, and I cannot say that I showed the best chess that I can show. I think Levy can say the same, but it's not about it. I mean, this match was not like a world championship match or some match for any title. It was purely purely for the joy of spectators. The commentators were doing like a terrific job. We played several interesting games that we can go over now, analyze and discuss. Yes, there were many mistakes and blunders, but once again, it gathered all around, and we still have a chance to discuss it and go over some moments which were quite instructive in some way. So let's just focus on the good things that this match brought, and actually I will be delighted to bring even more entertainment, to take a rematch offer from Levy, and we can even try play with no increment, although I'm sure it will give him like much more chances. But again, it's all about chess and about being able to promote it in different ways. I mean, if you want to see a high level chess with as few blunders as possible, you watch Tata Steel and classical chess and world championship matches. But chess is being played on all levels, and that's what makes it so wonderful and entertaining. Okay, let's get going. And as you can see, I'm not only showing Levy's mistakes, I'm also showing my mistakes, and there are gonna be much more mistakes from my side, especially in the bullet section, and Levy managed to create a few very nice checkmating attacks. So let's get going. Don't argue, just watch and enjoy. Okay, so that was moment number 4. I believe let's get to the 5th moment that I wanted to show you, and that was actually the last game of the 3+1 section. 60 minutes of 3+1. We started with this time control, and as you can see from the evaluation bar, the evaluation is +7, +7.5, meaning that white is completely dominating, completely winning this game. And it was a very again complex game. Levy sacrificed a piece for the pawn's center, but it was not enough. It should not have been enough if I'd find better moves, but I wasn't able to find this better moves, and that's what is different when speaking about computer games and human games. Okay, computer will just show you that black is winning here, and that's great, but when you're playing a game, you need to make some decisions, and sometimes they're not the best ones. I decided to exchange the queens. It was okay, but here somehow I missed a very strong continuation for white, which Levy managed to find. I played rook c8, a very natural move. I think, 95% of the players would play the same here. But in fact, after rook c8, c5 follows, which is very strong. And the idea of this pawn sacrifices is to play bishop a3 and highlight this very unfortunate position of my pieces on the 8th rank, and somehow I'm not able to bring my king closer to the center, towards the center, because of this rook b7 check, and then rook f2 b1, and I cannot do anything with the pawn on c5, because if it moves, my bishop is pinned, and thus my rook is under attack. White will just win by taking the rook. So it's not very pleasant to play in this position. There are some plans connected with h5, king g8, king h7, but as you can understand, I've never really considered those plans, since they seem to be so so in the wrong direction and so slow. So I played knight to e7, again quite logical, but the problem after with knight e7 that white just captures everything and plays d6, plays rook to b8, and d7 is not really a main idea here. The main idea is that I'm completely, moveless. I cannot move, and if white just improves the position, he can bring the rook, for example, to b7, one plan, or he can simply improve the position little by little. I just need to watch, to wait and watch. And that's what happened. Let's watch another episode in this situation.
Don't push d7. Just don't push d7. You can kind of wait. You can just bring the king in. You can kind of just... No!
Oh, he does play it, and he's only got 3 seconds left.
No,
3
Levy,
seconds.
no.
Oh, he's gonna lose.
No.
He lost on time. He lost on time.
I'm not sure
He
is
flagged
that it or not.
from a win.
Well, yes. Don't push your pawn to d7, just not d7, no way, since it gives a possibility for black to activate the king, and what's more important, to bring the rook into game, because when the pawns were standing next to each other on the 6th rank, the most important things that they were doing, they were guarding my king. I had nowhere on the 7th rank to go with the king, and that was the most important thing. And I mean, the position was very bad, very, very bad. Yes, and as I mentioned, I think rook f to b1 would have been like the best choice, and this plan just devastating. Devastating. After this, by the way, it's not only creating all kind of ideas with rook e7 and rook g7, but yeah, after rook 1 to b7, white is already thinking of playing d7. So let's make any move, for example, then d7, and yes, a very nice checkmate is coming. Yeah, but again, luckily for me, time was running low. Levy was very low on time, and you need a few minutes. You usually need a few minutes to realize that there are no moves from your opponent to make, and black is not threatening anything. They are in a complete Zugzwang. So you just have every time you wish for to improve your position little by little, or maybe not little by little. Rook b1, rook b7, 2 moves. Yeah, very nice position for white to play, but unfortunately for Levy, he lost even this one. So you see, he was getting very good positions. He was outplaying me at some moments, and it's just a matter probably of experience, of time management, that didn't let him keep up with the score in the first section, in the 3+1 sections, since I was leading. There was quite a big lead after these first games. I don't even know how many, what was the score. Let me just, so yeah, it was 7-2 after the first 60 minutes of the match, and we made a break, and we started the next section of the match, which was 30 minutes with 1+1. And at the beginning of this 1+1 section, I was doing great. I increased the lead, and it seemed that everything is under control. But then I started a very poor. I started to lose one after another. A tilt, bullet tilts, which which can happen often in those matches, especially with shorter time control. But I should. Okay, let's see with what game it all started. Let's see. It's a game where I again misplayed in the opening, but managed to get a good compensation. So let's find this game. Here we go. It was some kind of close Sicilian, and I did something wrongly and found myself under pressure, but managed to sacrifice 2 pawns and got a good compensation, a very good compensation. And actually Hikaru, even though he was answering some other questions at this particular moment, he immediately spotted the right direction of my pieces to go, and that's what actually makes him such a strong player, such a strong blitz player, that you cannot calculate everything, although I mean he can calculate a lot of things and very fast, but it's very important to know what moves to calculate. There are so many moves in a chess position that if you start calculating every single one, you will just lose on time. But in fact, if you know where to look and what moves to calculate, so you kind of eliminate the candidate's moves, it helps you a lot. And yeah, and let's listen again to Hikaru's comments.
It's it's like, okay. I think she missed a chance with rook e6 and rook g6. She missed a big opportunity. And she just blundered her knight. Okay, Levy's going to get a win here. He's going to get the dub.
Yeah, and he is saying that in this particular position, I should have played rook e6, rook g6. And that was a very good plan. It's not easy. It's not easy at all, because it seems that my rook is so well placed on the e file. I mean, an open file, my rook is dominating here. It's all on her own. But in fact, white's rook is coming to e1. So white wants to exchange the rooks. And yeah, it was very important to understand that. Actually, I could have even played rook to f6. The same idea, right? Because rook on e3, white is not threatening to take it, because I will take with the knight and the g2 square is hanging, and the rook on f6 is just the right place. So either rook e6 or rook f6 were both very strong. Because the right idea here is to transfer the rook, any one of them, to g6, and that's gonna help my bishop to create more pressure on the g2 square. I played rook to e4 since I wanted to keep my rook on the e file, and here again you see I had a plan, I followed with this plan, but I just forgot that this rook is protecting my knight, so I cannot really play rook f to a8. Is a blunder. I should have played rook f6 here as well, but I already lost some precious time, and the plan with rook g6 does not work as well as it could have one move earlier. So I played rook f to e8 and yes, blundered the knight, and that's how my tilt started. Going to the next game. It was a very Nemtsovich defense, some kind of strange defense, and I was doing actually great. I played well. I got a very good position out of the opening. I think a4 here is a good move to keep the b5 square under control, to stop the a5 pawn, not to let her move forward, and give black more space on the queen side. And my position here is just terrific. It's a very good position. You can see at the evaluation bar that the computer enjoys this situation for white. Let's see what happened, and let's listen again to the comments of Hikaru and Anna.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good practice for Levy, and hopefully this previous win gives him some boost. But the position I don't really
just getting
like.
smoked in the center again. Like, you know, this is how you really can tell. Like, so a lot of people probably don't notice it because I find a way to win games anyway when I play Blitz. But the quality of the moves in the opening when you play bad openings really shows the class of the player. Like the way Alexandra has played against Levy's really dubious opening with like A5 and H5, it's just like playing very thematically, very classically in the center and just attacking. It's all very, very thematic. Although she did blunder here somehow. What did she do?
Yeah, F6 after the trade on E5.
Oh, she allowed everything to come off and then F6?
F6 winning a piece.
And FG5 and Bishop F5 should be winning, yeah.
So I was doing everything so well and lost a piece. What happened? Why did it happen? What did I do wrong? And yes, that's what chess is. That's why they say that chess is 99% of tactics. We can talk a lot here about white doing great things, putting all the pieces onto the central files and dominating in the center and developing the pieces so greatly. But if white makes a blunder, that's it. I mean, the game is over. So e5 was a good move. Maybe not the best one in the position, but definitely a good one. But after d takes e5, I should have taken on c6 first. And the idea, first of all, I don't mind exchanging the queens here because my pieces are so very well placed and so, well, for example, if knight takes on c6, if black takes with the knight on c6, I take the queen. And here, look at this position. I mean, I'm just completely dominating it with all my pieces beautifully developed. Okay, maybe I'm not like winning, but for example, if black makes logical developing move, bishop takes f5, I can even consider taking on f7, and I will get a big compensation, a good compensation for this piece. It's not necessary, but it's a move to consider. I can just simply continue improving my position. What I want to say that my position was, I mean, I was doing great. I was doing great in this game, but then one mistake and it's over. The game is over. I took with the knight on e5. Without even, I mean, I just didn't want to believe that the piece is going to be lost. I mean, my two pieces are standing under fork, and well, yeah, here probably it was too late. I realized that the fork is coming, but I hoped to get some compensation for it. No, I didn't get any. Bishop takes e5 is a very strong move because after f6 I was still able to get a decent position after knight g6. But bishop takes e5 is a very strong move here, yeah, and here comes a fork. My position is absolutely hopeless, although I might have been more stubborn in this particular endgame, but that's a story for another stream. And yes, that was already the second game lost in a row, but it was not the end of this tilt. And here comes a game number 3. That is the key moment of the game. I was not doing great here, and again, let's listen to Hikaru's impressions.
I think knight d5 was winning, by the way, because of bishop g4. But whatever.
Was it?
Keep going.
Oh, I missed that.
I don't know, but like, so like this is a difference. So like, I'll give you a perfect example. This position after queen c8, I know we're on my board. We're not going to see the next couple of moves. This is a position where if I was playing against like Fedoseev, we're playing in a very serious speed chess championship match. In 1-0, I probably have to make a move in 4 seconds. In 1+1, you can use 15 to 20 seconds because if knight d5 works, then it's just winning. So that's kind of the point that's really important. It's like in 1-0 you have to do that instantly. In 1+1 you can think rook takes h5 is winning now.
Yeah.
Rook takes h5. Rook h5, Levy.
Rook h5 and checkmate incoming, and he's going for it.
Yep.
Wait. Oh, queen c2 is the right follow-up? I thought he had take.
It actually is. Yeah. Queen h7 coming.
Oh, because queen h5 knight d3 was still no.
Well, queen h5 there was queen f5 I think, which
okay.
Which covered the pawn and it held h7.
No, you're perfectly right about that. I missed that queen f5 is a very strong defensive move. So he spotted it, queen c2. He's ready to play queen h7, knight f6, and then checkmate in 2 or winning the queen. Nicely done by Levy. Nice. At least this game, Alexandra is just smiling about it because it was a beautiful tactical pattern, and she appreciates that too, even if it's her defeat in this game. But I'm sure that she liked the pattern.
Yeah, it was a nice checkmating pattern. Yeah,
a very nice checkmating pattern indeed. But let's see what happened a little bit before. And actually, Hikaru again noticed immediately that bishop g4 might have been a mistake. Well, bishop takes g4 was an okay move, but queen to c8 was a mistake. Queen to d7 would have been okay, but queen to c8 is a mistake. Why? Because this square is not protected. The pawn on e7 is left unprotected, and what's worse, we imagine the knight here, and it's a fork, and it's a checkmate actually. So here comes the right move, knight to d5. Threatening to take on e7 with a checkmate, so I need to do something about protecting the square. If I take the knight on d5, then bishop takes g4 comes. The queen is under attack, the knight is under attack, and I'm not doing great. Okay, I can still try some tricks with knight c3, but the position is lost. Means the h file is open and checkmate is coming. Instead I was lucky enough that white missed this chance, missed this possibility to play knight d5, which was very strong, and played f3. Actually that was a big mistake. You see how jumps the evaluation bar after this move. And why does it jump? Not because of bishop h5, although it's a fine move, but not just fighting for equality, not more than that. And instead I had a very strong intermediate move that could have helped me to win this game. I should have played queen to f5, an intermediate move, counter-attacking the knight on g5, and here suddenly white realizes that there is nowhere to go with this knight. If white plays f4, then I can just simply play e5, and actually it's not so clear whose king is weaker in this particular situation. If white plays knight d5 here, for example, then I take on d5, bishop takes g7, and actually this is a very good example on intermediate moves. King to g7, king takes g7 is possible, but it seems that a knight takes e3 is even stronger, although you need to understand that the position is very complex. It's very double-edged. Knight c2 check loses, for example, because of queen takes c2, and checkmate on h8 is coming. So I need to play knight g2 check, it's the only move, and then cover the h file as fast as I could. But it's okay, the position is okay, I have a good counterplay, and as I mentioned, yes, there is still a lot of space for making blunders, but generally I have even better chances to win this game than white. Instead, I didn't notice this strong intermediate move. I played bishop to h5, but after bishop to h5, white has a very direct attack, even though f4 probably was not the best move to choose from. Again, queen to f5 seems to be as a good option, but I played e5. Somehow I decided to counterattack, and I again missed Knight takes h5 is a mistake. I should have taken with the pawn. Although I'm not sure. No, actually it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change at all. The position probably here after e5 it just lost because white just sacrifices. Well, knight d5 is even stronger. Sacrifices the exchange, opens up the position of my king, and gets the queen to the square. And it's very important to play queen to c2, guarding the f5 square under control, because after queen takes h5, I was able to save my king by playing queen f5, which seems to be the key move of this game and this position. But Levy was playing very well at this moment. He played queen to c2, and you need to understand that it's a 1 minute bullet game, and to keep the attack and to make precise moves, it's hard enough for a classical game. For bullet game it's even harder. And here I made a blunder, but I don't regret making it, because I could have played another move like f5, but then I just have a losing position, and probably it would have ended the same way, most likely. Although I might have asked some additional questions. Instead, I played queen to g4, and we have a very nice tactical possibility for white here, which Levy spotted, and it's a very strong move. Knight to f6 check first, because check is not so powerful, just check alone, and because the bishop on g7 is guarding the 7th rank and the h8 square and h6 squares. But after it's gone, after it goes to f6, queen h7 comes with a devastating effect, and queen takes f7, checkmate. A very nice checkmate. Many actually nice checkmating patterns we discussed today. And we are getting closer to the end of the match, and that was a very difficult period of me, so I lost several games in a row, and it was important for me to fight back. I think I managed to win. No, how many games in a row did I lose? I lost one, two, three, well, several games in a row, so Levy was doing great in those games. And let's see one more very nice checkmating attack from Levy Rozman. Example, moment number 9. Oh no, moment number 9 of the match. So I am playing black. Levy is attacking the king, but everything is under control, under relative control for the moment, until I made my next move. And my next move was d takes e5. And that is a huge mistake. I should have played f5, trying to cover this bishop, and guarding the h7 square. And after e takes f6, queen takes f6, the position is still better for white, but at least I am protecting the h7 square. There is no immediate checkmate coming up, so I could have survived. Instead, as I already mentioned, I grabbed the pawn on e5, and we see the evaluation bar. Checkmate in 3 is coming. Checkmate in 3. Ouch. That was an ouch moment.
Agreed. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Anyway, knight h5. Oh, Levy's actually coming back to life. And by the way, you guys, we're not like doing favoritism here. We've given Alexandra a lot of credit. She's been a much better player throughout.
Yeah,
and
she's been doing so well.
Yeah.
Yep. Another checkmate. What can you do? Should really pay very close attention to your king, especially in bullet games. And here comes the last game of the match, and the last out of 10 oh no moments of the match that I picked up for you to enjoy and go over. Let's see it on the board first and then in the video. So another very complex Vienna game. I misplayed completely this Vienna variation that Levy used against me in this particular game. White got a very nice position, a very nice attack somehow. Then he misplayed here. He pressed the rook and then he pressed the king, and suddenly the system just forced him to castle. Of course, white should not castle here. Actually, rook takes h7 might be just winning, and the attack is very powerful here. A rook takes h7 probably is not the only move. Knight h5 seems to be very strong, but instead Levy castled, which gave me some relief. f6 probably was a little bit stronger here, but the attack continued. Let's listen to the comments, to the great comments of the match.
Yeah, it feels like he kept the best for last, but now the match is going to be over in a few minutes.
Yeah. Knight h5, or even knight e6 and queen g4. Oh, knight e6 and queen g4 might be winning too. I really want knight h5, knight f6, but I think knight e6. Okay, still good though.
What's the follow-up? Can he? I was thinking of the sacrifice. Couldn't he take on h7 and queen h5? Was it working? Well, I don't know any longer, but he's shaking his head now after castling. That was
no, because I mean Levy's down a pawn here, so he's got to attack. He's just down one pawn. It's not. I mean, he's just down a pawn, so he needs to attack.
That was a very strange decision to castle. Even if I don't know if the rook sacrifice was good or not, but that certainly was the direction to go. Keep that h5 for the rook.
He's got to move though. He's just got to move. Whoa. Okay.
Knight h5, but now if you trade on e3 and
it's gonna work. Takes queen h6, knight g6, rook f6. Very, very sharp still. It should be winning for black somehow. Like rook f6. Rook f6, only move. Rook f6. Just do it. Good. No king h8 because then you take the knight and then you take the rook because black can't take back with the... Oh, she blunders takes. No!
Levy blundered back. He didn't take. Oh!
Yep, too many mistakes, right? Well, it was the final game of a very tense match, and despite the ratings, despite anything, it's quite difficult to be able to focus watching just on your screen for 90 minutes, straight 90. I mean, a period of 90 minutes. So it can be quite a challenge. And yeah, it was some kind of misclick for Levy, that he castled. He didn't, of course, want to castle. He wanted to keep the rook on the h file where it belongs, definitely in this particular position. But it was not over. It was not the end of the world since I blundered once again, because it's hard. Okay, it's very hard. I have an extra material, I have an extra piece, but these pieces around my king, they're kind of annoying, and there is no way for me to get them away because I have my black squares are so weak here, and I have no black squared bishop, no pawns on the G and E file to ask this queen and this rook to go away. So it's not surprising that I made a mistake. I made a blunder actually here. I should have made some moves, probably c5, trying to counterattack, but how can you counterattack when you have all those pieces gathering around your king and trying to, I don't know, to create something. I played king h8, a good idea, but a bad move, and sometimes that happens again. Positionally, it's a good idea to to prepare the G file for the rook, but unfortunately it just doesn't work, because white can simply take on G6 and both my pawns are pinned. This is an absolute pin and this is a relative pin, but it's quite relative. I'm getting well, not checkmated, but destroyed after f takes g6. So bishop takes g6 would have won this last game of the match and would have made the gap even smaller. But luckily for me, white played rook b to f1, and that gave me a moment to unpin at least the f7 pawn and to bring my rooks closer, as close as I could. Actually, in this game I tried to play it safe, although it was quite difficult since the files, the H file was open anyway, and it was quite scary. But I decided to create a counterattack, and it worked. It worked well. So you see how I it's a square of pieces. I don't know if you've ever played this game that is quite popular in Russia. It's called corners, and the goal of this game is to put your pieces in a corner. So you start with 2 corners. White start with 9 pieces here, and they jump like checkers, all over other pieces. And the goal of this game is just to to get to that corners with your pieces as fast as you could. Okay, it doesn't matter, but I'm in a good shape here. I'm starting to build up my corner and getting closer to win that game. Okay. Anyway, it was a nice and entertaining match. Levy asked me about a possible rematch. Of course, it's possible. I will be happy to play, and I hope that this match helps Levy in his future matches on I am not a GM, right? That is going on chess.com right now. I know that Levy is still in the in this tournament and trying to advance. I am not a GM. Yes, I am not a GM. That's right. Thank you. So hopefully this match will somehow be helpful for Levy in this sense, and I hope that you enjoyed this little all know moments review. Thank you so much for watching me. I will be back tonight playing a Title Tuesday. So yes, now it's time to rest a little bit, to prepare for the evening tournament, and you are very welcome. Make sure to join my Discord as well, because I'm trying to take it professionally right now. I've just yet it is going to be in English. Yes, I'm going to stream it in English. I've just actually published the my streaming schedule for this week in my Discord, so make sure to sign up for my Discord server, ChessQueen server, and I hope to see you all real soon. Let's see what Twitch channel I can give now a raid to, who is streaming in this early hour. There are not so many streamers apparently, huh? Apparently there are not so many streamers. Okay, Alessia Santeramo is streaming, so I will give a raid to her. And take care guys, and thank you for watching. I hope to see you really soon. All the best. Bye bye. Thank you.